Welcome back. You are watching The Crossfire. Thank you very much for staying with us. A lot has been happening this week. We're trying to break down all that's been happening in the political space this week. Let's quickly take a look at who are our guests tonight. On my immediate left, Kiharu Member of Parliament, Ndindi Nyoro, thank you for always making time for us. Kitui Senator Enoch Wambua, asante sana for coming. Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala, good to have you here in studio. And finally, Eldas Member of Parliament and Secretary of the Jubilee Coalition Joint Parliamentary Group, Aidan Kainan. Thank you very much, gentlemen. An all-man panel, to be called a manel, but for today, please forgive us. A lot of politicking, and we needed proper representation for this. But of course, perhaps just quick comments. We've seen the economic survey has been released. How do you feel about how things are going? We're talking about 0.03 percent drop, 700,000 job losses. I imagine most of you will use this as a campaign messaging for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Akisa, for having us with these great gentlemen this evening. Today, I heard the Treasury CS releasing the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics data on how our economy is performing. And for me, it was full of paradoxes. It was
Why do you
full
say
of
that?
paradox, and it was not correct, to say the least. First, because, number one, he talked about rebasing our economy to something close to 110 billion US dollars,
yes,
or just shy of 11 trillion Kenya shillings. But even going through, even you can go now as I talk, if you go to the Central Bank of Kenya data, from 2019, our economy was reported by the same government, was just around 8.8 trillion Kenya shillings. Then he told us the economy has grown by around, I think, just around 5%, yes, give or take. But unfortunately, in the ensuing year, the same data, I mean, shown by the central bank, was in excess of 10% growth. What am I trying to say? If you check this budget that he read, the previous budget of 2020, he talked about our economy being at around 9.7 trillion Kenya shillings. Exactly, 9.7 trillion Kenya shillings, or 97 billion US dollars. Then, how can you then tell us the economy shrank by 0.3%, and at the same time give us aggregate figures of 11 trillion?
Some dishonesty, so you think there's some dishonesty there?
It's not just dishonesty. That is actually how this government has been taking Kenyans for a ride.
Okay, let's hear.
The same government giving us data today is the same Central Bank of Kenya, which we can rely on, giving figures. I mean other data in the previous platforms. But that be as it may, if you talk about an economy of 11 trillion, Akisa, what that tells you is that then our economy is a very unequal society. Because if indeed there is rebasing, and if indeed there is growth, I can tell you from the people that I represent, the people of Kiharu, there is no economy in their pockets. There is no real money in their pockets.
Right.
And therefore, if there was growth, you ought to have told us something called Gini coefficient that measures the inequalities within the society, so that you tell the Kenyan people, whereas the economy grew by this, only 5 families, possibly, who are the owners of the factors of production, I can actually grew as the major population of this country.
So there's a trickle-down effect. The economy is everyone's campaign message right now, or issue.
Sure.
What are your thoughts?
Akisa, I will not take as much time as my brother has taken, because we also don't have so much time on this issue.
That's
but I'll
true.
tell you what. For me, the economic survey, the report released today by the minister, is a contradiction of terms because of two reasons. One, you are telling us that the drop that we have had in the economy is a 0.3. But as you're saying, but you're also telling us that we had an economy of 9 trillion last year. Now we are at 11 trillion. And to make it even worse, there is talk about us increasing the debt ceiling from 9 to 12. What are you telling Kenyans? You're telling Kenyans you want to run an economy where every shilling that you own is also borrowed. What kind of economy is that you're running?
Malala, for you?
Thank you, Akisa. To me, I wouldn't want to lament so much about the inconsistencies as encapsulated in the survey. I would want us to look at the way forward. What are we going to do? What strategy are we going to adopt to have our economy back to where it was before? And as a Amani National Congress, we've been on the forefront championing for economic revival. We are asking Kenyans to be patient. We are remaining 10 months to a transition season, whereby we are coming in to bring in a new government, which is coming to bring light to the people of Kenya in terms of, one, reviving the agriculture sector so that we have a secure food, nutrition, and health. Second, expanding the manufacturing base, trying to reduce the bureaucracy in establishing businesses in Kenya. Third, working on corruption, because let me tell you, Akisa, without us working on corruption, Kenya is losing almost 2 billion shillings per day.
All right.
So if we don't tackle these real issues, if we continue grappling and debating about numbers and...
but the numbers are important.
Yes.
You cannot deny that.
Yes, if we continue arguing about that and we do not look at the real issues that are affecting our economy, then we shall just be engaging into what we call verbose hemorrhage. What we need to do is we need to tackle these issues. And this is what our party and our party leader is coming in with, ideas that are going to revive the economy.
Right. This is coming at a time when drought is biting the hardest in 12 counties. 2 billion rather has been released to 12 counties. And President Uhuru Kenyatta met a lot of a number of leaders from the ASL communities. Your thoughts? I really also want you to comment on that.
Yeah, I think first on the economy, there are two things. The figures, the statistics actually released by the CS has two aspects. One, it demonstrates the resilience, first of all, of our economy. Because basically, if you look at the Kenyan's economy, it's consumer-based. But equally, there's a new phenomenon. If you see the kind of infrastructural expansion that is going on right now, if you see certain economic indicators that show there has been a bit of growth, then don't be surprised. Because you look at the benefits from this super highway from the airport to this, the amount that alone injects actually into the economy, whether it's borrowed or not, is something that one can talk about. Secondly, it also shows the challenges. And I think if you put these two, you will realize that some of the sectors that we have neglected over the years, in particular the agricultural sector requires clear revisiting, because that should have been the base. It's not working. Most farmers, or most people, just like now, this area we're talking about, the arid and semi-arid areas, the mainstay of the economy is livestock. That has been neglected over the years. Some of the key institutions, like the Livestock Marketing Division, the Kenya Meat Commission, and other entities that used to deal with this are not functioning. Kenya Meat Commission right now is struggling. Right. So it's because of this that when drought comes, the livestock offtake program that used to be there is no more. So what happens? Farmers are left at the mercy of the famine. And I think these are things that once I do know when it comes to election time, different parties have different ways of projecting actually the economic.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you look at this, there must be a common denominator. The common denominator is what is good for the people of Kenya. And I think that's what now people are come up with and projecting and put it in the best way possible that the electorate will make sense of and translate them into votes. That is what someone will say hasala, another one might not believe this, another will say bottom up, another will say bottom down, another will say middle up. All these, there's an element of economic principle, whether it is written or unwritten. But again, the way it's projected, the way it's consumed is what ultimately will add value to the well-being of the Kenyan people. All
right, and it's a conversation we'll keep having. The economy is a big issue, and we are seeing that every political party is making it an issue around their campaign. So let's talk politics now, and perhaps start with the most recent press briefing from Wiper Party members, led by yourself, daring, if I could use that word, your party leader, that if he goes the Raila way, then he is on his own. Why?
Sure. Because, Akisa, it has gotten to a point in the politics of this country that the truth must be said, however bitter that truth is. There have been conversations, especially in our region, that Raila is talking to Kalonzo, for Kalonzo to support him. And the message that we delivered yesterday is a very firm and clear message. And I want to repeat it today so that people don't think it's something that we did by chance. The supporters of His Excellency Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka Senior Council, both in Lower Eastern Region and across the country, I've told him that whatever you do, you can never support Raila Amolo Odinga to be the president of this country, because his time for that is past. And they have told him in no uncertain terms that if you make that mistake, and I can tell you for sure, I had breakfast with Mupati today, and he said, I'm not going there. That place is a place I'm not going. But the people have told him, if you make that mistake of supporting Raila Amolo Odinga for the position of President of the Republic of Kenya, two things will happen. One, you will go there alone, as in your support base will abandon you. You will go and support Raila on your own. And secondly, if you make that mistake, the people that have supported you and made you the person that you are today will never forgive you for that mistake. And so I'm here to say that what we said yesterday, we are saying it today, we will say it tomorrow, and we believe, as supporters of Kalonzo Musyoka, that he is the best president that this country has been waiting for, and his supporters have told him he has to be on the ballot. He has to be on the ballot on the 9th of August 2022. But
politics is a game of numbers. What if Raila Kalonzo ticket is what will be the winning formula?
Yeah, that is a conversation that we can have. A Raila Kalonzo ticket, you can flip that ticket. Maybe you say Kalonzo
Raila ticket.
The thing is,
what are the chances?
I don't know. Just maybe they are as slim as they are for Kalonzo supporting Raila. And that we must say. I mean, if the position is that Raila cannot support Kalonzo, then in the same measure, Kalonzo cannot support Raila. That's quickly,
because I want to go to someone else.
Yes.
Is a Ruto Kalonzo ticket or Kalonzo Ruto ticket, that's something you'd consider?
No, because they are in different formations. The Asla Nation is doing.
So that's a definitive no.
They are talking about kazi ni kazi. As we are saying, no, kazi sio kazi, kuna kazi ingine ambayo tufanyi.
But it is a game of numbers.
It's a game of numbers, but the numbers are not there. The numbers are in the One Kenya Alliance. That's where the numbers are.
Indy will respond to that shortly. But One Kenya Alliance, Mudavadi is seemingly, all the principles are seemingly pulling in their own direction. We are yet to formalize this union. I think we've only reserved the name, if I'm not wrong. Mudavadi says, I must be on the ballot. Kalonzo's team is saying, if you do that, you're going it alone. KANU seems non-committal still, because of course also they have a pact with Jubilee. Is Oka shaky? Is it going to survive this?
Akisa, I want to state here with a lot of authority that Oka is intact. Yes. We have met severally, and there's a team that has been formed to be meeting twice every week, just to check on the progress we are making in terms of negotiating. We have the team made up of KANU Kamket, Wiper, Mutula Kilonzo Jr., and my good friend Wambua, myself, and Sakaja. We meet on a weekly basis just to touch base and to ensure that our principles are intact. Whatever we are engaging right now, like for example, our position as ANC is that we do believe that our party leader is going to be on the ballot and is the right person to fly the One Kenya Alliance ticket. We met, we have some of the prerequisites that we are setting up for the flag bearer of One Kenya Alliance, and we shall be announcing to you very soon. We have our strategies. And one among our strategies is that let every principal go and market himself. And then we shall come down and sit and do a SWOT analysis of every principle. That is when we shall decide. But as it stands right now, as a Mani National Congress, we believe Musalia Mudavadi who is going for this thing. He is the best person who is going to fly One Kenya Alliance flag, and I believe that we shall stick into that coalition.
He hinted at possibility of picking his running mate from Central Kenya. Where does this leave this arrangement?
One Kenya Alliance is an ongoing conversation. We are not closed. We're still inviting other people to come into the alliance. We're still inviting people from Central region. We're still inviting Akina Kenan from Northeastern. We're still inviting the coastal communities to come into One Kenya Alliance. And therefore, we are not saying that the four principals who are in One Kenya Alliance will have already shared positions. No. We are saying whoever is coming, all positions are opened. We shall negotiate when everybody is on board. And therefore, it is his democratic right to say that I would prefer then
I need to cut you short. We need to fix something. I need to cut you short. Kenan, and of course, he's mentioned that we are bringing everyone on board. The UPIA movement is supporting President Uhuru Kenyatta and his National Unity Alliance or Coalition. Where are we coming from with this as the ASAL communities?
Yeah, we are coming from two backgrounds, let me say this. First, we have just realized that we have been abused, we have been used in the past as either flower girls or flower boys or whatever by major political parties. So we want to shed off two things. First, we no longer consider ourselves as minority. And two, because of devolution, the issue of marginalization now is becoming secondary. And having also realized that this country is about tribes, is about regions, is about interests, and the kind of debate that is going on under ODM or under OCA or the Hasala group, all this, you look at it critically. The common denominator is regional interest, communal interest, that all laden in the personality cult. That is why when you have Kalonzo, there are so many people who ride on his back, and that trademark gives them political, survival. The same thing with Mudavadi, the same thing right now with
Ruto.
The same thing with President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yeah.
So what we have decided to do as a group is we say, look, we have the numbers. If today, the first thing that constitutes the sovereign republic of Kenya is the number one is land. Number two is people. We have the land. 70% plus the landmass of the Republic of Kenya. And equally, we have the people, millions. So we're saying over the years, we have underutilized both our existence, our capacity, and our landmass. And we say now, let's come together under that ASAL arrangement. Let's look at our unique circumstances. Let's look at our background. Let's look at our region and form a group, a very strong global group within the auspices of the Jubilee coalition, the handshake, and even the OCA. Because what we are saying right now is, and we believe ultimately, and I want to, having been in politics for quite some time, 11 months in politics is such a long time. For God's sake, don't rule out anything. That's my thing.
The big question right now, it seems that UPIA movement is casting its net wide, because you talk about Jubilee, you talk about the handshake, of course, Raila Odinga in it, you talk about OCA. In the event these groups pull in different directions, where does UPIA movement end up?
That's a good question. Actually, most of us are already in the mainstream. If you look at, WIBA and Jubilee have a working
cooperation agreement.
KANU and Jubilee have a
Coalition.
coalition. Equally, the other OCA group, the fact that KANU, WIBA, ANC, and Fort Kenya are working together, by extension means we can also work together. We also have the handshake, ODM. Our desire is, and this is not cast as a stone, is to have all this group, because ideologically, if you look at it, we are not very far from one another, is to have this group under one umbrella, under one group, and I hope that is why there has been serious meetings within the OCA framework, within the bigger group, in Mombasa, in Nairobi, and I'm sure at different levels there are consultations that are going on. So we believe at a certain stage that there will be some sort of a coalition. So we as UPIA, our agenda is when there shall be discussing, we must also be represented. So that as much as ANC is there, WIPA is there,
interests must be
Jubilee is there, our interest as a unique group must also be part of the discussion,
right,
the negotiation table. And that's why
you make it seem like it will end up to be a rosy, one big coalition, but the sharing of positions is going to be the biggest headache. People are organizing themselves. The DP has insisted he's not going the coalition's way. So how are you securing 50% plus one?
You know, Akisa, you need to ask yourself, a coalition of who and who? The Hustler Nation is already a coalition, and a big coalition of all the great people of Kenya. And it is a movement that is open to all Kenyans. And actually, that is the only coalition with the most number of members of parliament. Currently, maybe in excess of 150 members of parliament. But I have to admit that, Akisa, either politicians are the most hopeful lot, or we have a career where you are able to lie facing the cameras without showing it with your facial expressions. Because listening to my brothers here, it is foolhardy and full of contradictions. Because they come here purporting that nondescript called Oka Alliance is intact. And they purport to speak authoritatively. But with the same mouth, one of them says the flag bearer must be this person, that is Musalia Mudavadi.
Oh,
on the other side, the other one actually gives ultimatums that if you support any other candidate, then you go there alone. And out there, all of them are launching their presidential bids.
Maybe a race for may the best man win, then everybody else falls in line?
All of them are launching their presidential bids. That's why, Akisa, we decided as a majority of the leaders in this country that we are going to run away and we are going to channel and we are going to take our country forward from this kind of ethnic-based kind of politics, where this kimping from Lower Eastern comes together with this kimping from this county, with the other kimping from the other county, purportedly to form a coalition or a political party. That is a fragmentation, that is a combination, it is a conglomeration of tribal kingpings.
It has been proven to work before.
What you are saying
has been proven to work before.
Is that we need to change the narrative. If you listened carefully, Akisa, I was listening. My brother Wabua here, when he was talking, he mentioned the name positions and power over 4 times. When my brother Marara was talking, he mentioned positions and power several times. The same case with our senior commissioner there.
Can you recite those sentences?
To be elevated from the politics of power and positions, because that is what has actually made our country to be saddled and remain in darkness and poverty for a long time.
So we are taking a different tangent. That's what you're saying. Changing the narrative.
Okay. That you're already succeeding in doing that. Even today's headlines of the national newspapers, we are talking about economic models. The first economic model actually came from us.
Okay.
Others are taking the cue. However, they may not be able to.
But you would not be the first to own the economy narrative. At least you could admit that.
Tell me who started it.
What economy?
Tell me what economy?
What economy?
Okay, we are going to digress this conversation. I'm giving you a few seconds.
I come from the Hustler Nation, and we are civil people. I don't come from NASA where you are used to shouting.
No. That's unnecessary. That's unnecessary. Just finish your point. Make your point so that then we can.
We need to change the narrative of this country. Elevate our discussions from ethnicity, from a coalition of personality politics and kind of cult politics into something around the economy.
Fair enough.
Because when we make our economy thrive, Akisa,
yes,
everyone from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the up, everyone succeeds.
Okay, you've made your point. I know you all have a lot of...
Akisa, you know, don't tell him that he has made his point, because I don't even see any point there. Akisa, 2 things. One, he has used our own conversation to impute that we have lied. You should not even allow that on your show, because we have not. What we have said is that we want to strengthen the standing of the leaders of One Kenya Alliance. And we have said, in fact, he has mentioned that there is a caucus. Myself, him,
mentioned the names.
Yes, myself, him, Senator Sakaja, Senator Mtula Kilonzo Jr., and you will be seeing us going all over the country, including in his area, to strengthen ANC in his base, to strengthen Wiper in his base, to strengthen Ford Kenya in his base, to strengthen Kanu in his base. Because we believe that if the basis of our One Kenya Alliance are strong, then our union is strong. Secondly, and I need to disabuse my brother Nyoro of this notion, There is nothing wrong, and maybe I should teach him a few things. There's nothing wrong in this country and anywhere in the world where you use the tribe as a basis for political conversations in a democracy. Because the tribe represents an interest, a communal interest. And politics is about interests. The third thing is talking about power and authority, and we have not even used it, but I'll use it because he has used it. There is nothing wrong. The only reason why people have political contests is to win political power and to be in control of the sharing of national resources. That's exactly what Ruto is trying to do. Otherwise, if that's not what he's not trying to do that, where will he get the money that he's talking about? The bottom up and the up bottoms, another one is inside out, whatever it is. You know this thing about the Aslan nation, and I thank God really that the bubble is being busted. It's all hype. There's nothing in it. It's just talk. Nothing in it. No. People who go and amass so much wealth, and go down there to the villages to give handouts of wheelbarrows and spades and tell people from this you can grow to become a billionaire like you.
Okay.
It's nothing. It's a conversation about nothing.
Let me just speak it from something also he said, that there seems to be a lot of grandstanding. And every principal in Oka is saying our person must be on the ballot. Yes. So how do we intend to work around this? Look at Musalia Mudavadi. He's been Deputy Prime Minister. He's been Vice President. He's vied before. Kalonzo has vied before.
Simple.
So are we going to see anybody deputize another?
Yes, we will.
Yes.
This is our conversation. We are pushing our principles. At the end of the day, our principles will make the final determination on who the flag bearer is.
This is our strategy. So why are you too concerned, Lindy, with our strategy? If Wiper is pushing for Kalonzo and ANC is pushing for Musalia, and KANU recently has started pushing for Gideon Moi.
Yeah, we expect a big announcement.
Exactly. So why are they so worried with our strategy? That is our strategy. Our strategy is that we need to consolidate our principles so that by the time we come, it is a convergence of strong principles and not just ceremonial principles. And therefore, when we say that Musalia Mudavadi must be on the ballot, we mean it because we are consolidating support across the nation behind Musalia Mudavadi. When Wiper are pushing for a Kalonzo presidency, we are not offended as ANC. The first people who should be offended when Wiper are saying that Kalonzo must be on the ballot is Ford Kenya, ANC, and KANU. But we are not offended. Why are they so offended when it doesn't matter to them? And second, Akisa, this issue of Hustler Nation, there's nothing called Hustler Nation. I think these good leaders are just trying to radicalize our young people into a group that is going to, that I term a time bomb for this country. They're radicalizing them, they're inciting them against the current government establishment, which is not a good thing. Is it the case, really? Yes, that is it, because they're trying to radicalize them in the sense that they have not been given enough opportunities, that they're not getting the best out of government, and therefore...
Are they?
Yes, that is exactly what they're doing.
No, but are young people getting these opportunities?
They are not, but the solution is not to radicalize and incite them. The solution is to have solutions for the young people.
One would argue that, and sorry to cut you short, but I would like you to answer this just for a fair space. One would argue that the discomfort is because for the first time, perhaps, the narrative is different. And we're not used to it. What would you say to that?
The narrative by the same players. Let me tell you one thing. The chief of the Hustler Nation is the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya since 2013. And therefore, you cannot come and start criticizing your own regime. Let him tell the young hustlers or the young people of this nation, what has he done for this nation since they were elected in 2013? He had 5 years in government. What did he do for the young people? He promised stadium. Did he deliver them? He promised laptops. Did he deliver? He promised scholarships. Did he deliver? He promised internship opportunities for our young people. Did he deliver? that to our people. Those are some of the real measures these hustler people should be telling us. But the issue of just walking around with a wheelbarrow across the country and trying to radicalize people, I think that is a narrative that cannot be bought.
Let's hear from you.
I think, first of all, the issue of the different economic models. You know, economy as a subject, or as a discipline, is not starting with UDA. The only new thing right now in that particular field is the virtual economic model. All other economic models are known, documented, and this is because of COVID. That being the case, Kenya is part of the global community, and our economy does not operate in complete isolation of the economy of the world. What coming back to the politics, what my friends have, my friend the Senator has alluded to, you know, in negotiations, you must start from the known to the unknown. The known is Waiba has a candidate. The known is ANC has a candidate. The known is Ford Kenya has a candidate. The known is Kanu has a candidate. So ultimately, but they have a group, they have a technical team. So Waiba will present, Kanu will do the same, citizen, and that will form part of the negotiation. That's why they have to take a hard position.
Of course.
And I think I entirely agree. So that's part of negotiation strategy. But this is a tribal country. If you look at the face of Kenya, even the way the different regions from the colonial time, we'll go back to the history of this country, from the time when we were managed by the British East African Company in the 18-somethings to the time when we became a colony, pre-independence to independence, all the stages that we have gone through, the way we have been governed is purely along tribal lines. The only additional group is this group that I can call the petit bourgeoisie, the products of the sons and daughters of the colonial chiefs, and that formed their own tribe. But again, for their own survival, again, they have to, get linked with the communities where they come from. So, for one to say that ours has no tribe, ours has no region, I think is superficial. It's not factual. Ultimately, each of these parties must have a base, whether it's Western Kenya, whether it is Eastern, whether it is Central, whether it is Rift Valley, you can deny it.
And someone said, anyway, all politics is local.
Is local. Yeah. That is the truth. And the other bit is, you see, yes, we have challenges, but equally it's also immoral and wrong to promise things that you know are not practical. Like this economic model that I'm hearing from my friends here, it's not applicable. I've looked at it. I've looked at all the economic, both the known and unknown, and even the imagined. It doesn't make sense to the Kenyan economy. It doesn't make sense to, but it can also excite. And I think it can excite the youth. It can mislead them. And what we have, it's also wrong. We must be, as politicians, we must be responsible on what we say, what we do, and what we state. Because if we say things that we can't implement, and you use it, I'm told in Zambia, one of the slogans of one of the presidents was Ugali kwa meza. And I'm told it worked. So, after the election, are you going to provide Ugali to everybody? Is it going to be free? Because that is their mainstay. You know, Ugali is just like Ugali here in Kenya. Are you going to provide free Ugali or maize meal to everybody? So, these are the realities. But as time goes, as we also approach the general election, you know that some of these things, so many things actually will disappear. My friends who don't my friends who don't believe in a coalition will be forced to have a coalition, I can tell you. Of course. They'll be forced to have a coalition, and I can vote that.
So they will end up with, maybe some of you will join forces with them.
And equally, at the end of the day, you will see the emergence of other new groups as a result of disagreements from this coalition
Like you
talks.
said, 11 months is a long time. It's a very long time in politics. You have a lot of things you need to respond to, but also, how will you avoid forming coalitions and get to the 50% mark? Because it's a question everybody is asking. Apart from saying, oh, you're forming coalitions with the Kenyans, let's look at the reality of our politics.
I'll answer that alongside Mheshimiwa Kenan's sentiments. And I can forgive him for arguing that every party needs an ethnic base and a tribal base. I totally forgive him. And I also totally forgive him for insinuating that the kind of economic model that we want and we are floating to the Kenyan people cannot work. I forgive him for two reasons. One, he was part of KANU when President Kibaki promised free primary education. And they were all out here saying, it's not possible. President Kibaki did it. The other reason that I forgive him is that he has been in politics for 30 to 35 years. And therefore, he may be living in the promises of the past. And I am sure he is living on the past. And that is why he believes that every political party has to be domiciled around ethnicity. But I sympathize with my two brothers because they are young in politics. And I also want to tell you, Akisa, because I can hear them starting to speak. Wabua, we know you were the boss of this place, but you left it. So let Akisa do his job. Unless you want to take over the interview's position. So you are the boss, but let me speak. You are now the Senate and all the boss of Senate.
No, it's okay. Please finish your point.
I want to respond by saying...
Ordinarily, you are very sober debater. Ordinarily.
Just finish your point. Finish your point. Gentlemen, perhaps we need to put this in order. Just finish your point.
You know the reason why I even avoided talking about even this panel, where you bring one person who is Hustler Nation, that is myself. I'm not surprised though. And then you bring three of my brothers here who are speaking the same language. And then when I'm speaking, they are shouting.
And then when I'm putting across my point,
you are shouting at yourself. You are very fast.
I've given you a chance to finish your point.
You are very fast. You are very fast to cut me short.
No. I've given you enough time to speak, and I want you to take this time and finish your point. Please,
I have so many issues to respond, but let me start with Malala, purporting that the deputy president is part of this regime. I want to remind my brother that his party leader, Mudavadi, and the party leader of Wabua, the Wiper, the one he's purporting we carry around wheelbarrows, has been in State House this year more times than the person they are calling the deputy president. They know for sure that William Ruto is deputy president by name. The powers have been taken, distributed to their party leaders.
Since when?
And therefore, they are part and of this regime. I also want to remind Marara and Wabua that during the first term, when this coalition, the ruling coalition, was cohesive, and when they were working together, that is when many homes in Kakamega and Muranga and Ukabani were connected through the national grid, through the electricity. It is the same time that the railway was built. We can talk about cost the other time, but let me please put across my point. It is the same time many of the projects that are ongoing were conceptualized. We can give credit where it is due. It is not a coincidence that the first term of this regime, we could see visibles, we could see tangibles, you could see and touch real development. However, after the second term, the president had a handshake with one of the leaders of these leaders here. And of course, they were bundled together as the handshake brothers, all of them together. The ones you see in State House, Mombasa, taking Madazi and talking about possession. So
do you think the first term, I'll let you finish your point, but do you think the first term, the development was there only because you only giving credit to the deputy president?
I want to ask you, is it a coincidence? That is the answer I need from this gentleman. That is the first time that we see the railway. It is the first time, actually, we saw many kilometers of road being built in our rural areas. It is the first time electricity connections were happening. Is it also a coincidence that after the handshake and all the other brothers came together, there are no more connections going on in our villages? There are no more roads. Many contractors are pulling out of sight because of lack of money, Akisa. Other than the trophy projects, like this highway from JKIA all the way, and Mau Mau Road, and Keno Marwa Road, other than those three projects, most of the other projects in our rural areas have actually halted because of lack of payment. So Akisa, I want this gentleman to tell me, is it a coincidence then, after the handshake happened, and after they joined and displaced William Ruto, there is no tangible happening in this country?
Let me give them a chance.
We are over-borrowing more than the first time. I want you to check the debt levels from 2013 to 2017, and then check the debt levels from 2013 to date. You'll be able to deduce. And lastly, let me finish. Lastly, please.
In a minute, we don't have too much time.
Lastly, You talk about William Ruto and the fact that he has been part of this regime, blah, blah, blah. Malala, I want you to read history. President Mwai Kibaki was finance minister of the first president of this country. President Mwai Kibaki was vice president for 10 years of Daniel Moi. There is no magic he did because he had no space on the steering wheel. President Kibaki, when he took over in 2002, Kenya transformed from day one. Our economy grew by an average of 7% per annum. So if whatever argument you want to take is that William Ruto is a man on a mission
Let
and
them
by
respond.
himself.
Please, you cannot talk there.
Let me
in 10 seconds, honestly, don't talk the whole time, honestly.
If you read history again, Malala, and I hope you do, you'll see that the same scenario in Kenya was actually also in China in 1978. And I've given this story many times, and I hope you'll understand it this last time. There was a person called Mao Zedong in China prior to 1978. His Secretary General, equivalent of William Ruto now, Mao Zedong was the chairman of Communist Party of China. His Sec-Gen was Deng Xiaoping. Deng Xiaoping, they ruled together with Mao Zedong for many years. China was only defined by poverty and famine. He took over as chairman of Communist Party and as president of China. From 1978 to 1990, it grew by 10% per annum compounded.
I want to give them a chance to respond. I have honestly given you enough time to make your point here.
Is the person with the steering wheel.
Let me come in first. First of all, I would like to implore upon my brother to relax. If you have a glass of water, you can give him to relax, because we are not in a battle. Huh? We're just here to exchange ideas. I want to, first of all, say that we are not here to defend the Jubilee manifesto or the Jubilee agenda, because we are not part of Jubilee. He's Wiper and I'm ANC.
Then I ought to have responded to that bit.
And we're not here to do that. But again, we need also to remind my good brother here that, yes, in the first tenure, a lot was done.
You agree with him?
I agree with him. A lot was done. But we also, on the flip side, must appreciate that we had a lot of looting in government that has occasioned government to lack funds in the second season to even go to an extent of borrowing. That is why government is borrowing, because we had a lot of scandals. We had a lot of corrupt cases in the first tenure. Kimorera and Arol Dam. You remember those scandals. And I don't want to start mentioning them. Second, my brother here is contradicting himself by saying that, you know, when Mwai Kibaki was Minister of Finance and Deputy President, he did not do much until Mwai Kibaki became President. So why again is he taking credit of the first-term projects which were done when William Ruto was Deputy President? If at all you are denying this government, deny it in totality. Do not say that we are denying it from 2017 to date. Third, the handshake and the cooperation agreements between Wiper and Jubilee and maybe our party leaders and President Uhuru Kenyatta are not enshrined in the Constitution. Legally speaking, Musalia Mudavadi has no executive powers. You cannot blame the faults of this government to Musalia Mudavadi or Kalonzo Musyoka. You can't do that. Basically, this government was elected in 2017, and they were there are two people who ran on the Jubilee Party.
And I'll let you finish that point. And perhaps this is for the three of you. You accuse him, and just for the sake of our audience, that they cannot cherry pick, that what was good, they give gratitude and they peg it on Ruto, and what was bad, then the DP will not be there. But also, are we also faulting President Uhuru Kenyatta? And if we are, this is the same person we are closely working with in coalitions. So are we will be accused, you would be accused of that very same sin.
Let me respond to that, Akisa, please. You know, there's no denying that there are failures in this government. That no one can run away from.
Yes. And
at the end of the day, the buck stops with the president.
Yes.
He's the head of state and government. So he must carry the burden of the failures in his government. No government is perfect. What I find difficult to deal with is when my brother here, my friend, Ndidi Nyoro, wants to perfect the art of speaking from both sides of his mouth. He says, from one side of his mouth, that vice presidents or deputy presidents should not be held accountable for failures of government in which they serve. But on the other side of his mouth, he says, in the first term of government, before you people came in, Ruto was in and we were able to achieve this and this and this and that. I find that very difficult to deal with. But most fundamentally and most importantly, and I asked this question last time I was here, Kangata was unable to provide an answer. Perhaps he will be able to provide that answer. In that term that he says the deputy president was part and parcel of government and actively involved in progress in government, we were told by the two of them, the dynamic duo, that they were sharing government 50-50, yeah? Uhuru 50, Ruto 50. And I asked this question and I ask him now. In the 50% of government that William Ruto was given in the first term, what percentage of that 50% came to my region in Ukambani, to a hustler? You know, because there are also hustlers in Ukambani, if really hustlers I need to go by. What percentage of that 50% that he got, especially in cabinet appointments? I asked to be given one name of a Kamba young man or woman that Ruto gave a cabinet position in the first time that he was part of that government. Then we can have a conversation. If there isn't, then let's stop this conversation.
Okay. I'll have him respond to that. Because you're in Jubilee and you should really respond to some of the things that he's raised here.
That's why I want to respond to now they've diluted. But let me say this. Ordinarily, my good friend Nili Yoro is sober, and I hope today you will also allow us to conclude our show in the most civilized. Because then after we exit from here, we'll still be friends, we'll still be colleagues. That's one thing that I always say. So let's not be carried away by imputing an improper motive on colleagues who are here. And that's just cautious. Secondly, because you'll be surprised, tomorrow we might be in the same party. And we will persuade you to join this alliance because the Hasala narrative is not adding up. That aside, Jubilee has a manifesto, has had a manifesto. And even my friend Dini Yoro is still technically a member of Jubilee. The deputy president is still technically, let me not say technically, he's the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya and the deputy leader of the Jubilee party. One thing that I find ironic, and this is why I say our politics is not driven by any ideology or principles, is if you disagree fundamentally with the substance of that particular party, the right thing to do is to exit. That is not happening. It's like you want to say this, you want to have water here, you want to have milk here, and you want to separate. It's not possible. One time, Raila Amolo Odinga actually was pushed out of Fort Kenya. And he did the right thing. He went out, resigned, and contested an NDP ticket, and won, and started that party. That is the kind of pragmatism that is required. Okay. So being in a government, and sometimes the numbers that I alluded to, it's not true. We have demystified that. We know the numbers of each party. So what I was trying to say is this. Why some of the loans that were borrowed in the first term are the ones that have matured right now? And you see so many things that are not happening in the first term happen in this particular term because of two things. Most projects were implemented at the initial stage when the government actually was formed. And they are maturing. Payment period has just started in the second term. So that is not a phenomenon that you can just attribute to President Kenyatta alone. It's something that collectively, the deputy president, me as a Jubilee member, all of us must collectively own and say, this is one of the things that we decided, and it's here with us. Okay. So we can't take credit. I saw like what happened in Yeri the other day. You take credit for certain projects that have been completed, and also rubbish other projects that are still ongoing. Honestly, Kenyans are very...
This conversation took a different tangent. We have about 10 to 15 minutes to finish this conversation. Let's go back to the question of picking running mates. Everyone is looking to craft a winning formula. Northeastern partly from, I think it's 8 counties, the Upia movement, from about 8 counties. You're talking about being on the table with Uhuru, Odinga, and Oka. But you say it's not cast in stone. So then how do you ensure that the interests of your people have been or we'll get a hearing ear at the end of the day, but also that you are in the winning team? Because right now you've cast your net too wide.
Okay.
How will you be in the winning team?
I'll tell you how some of these things work. The countdown to the promulgation of the current constitution. Something dramatic actually happened in Naivasha. Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and team wanted a pure parliamentary system. For those of us who are part of the Kibaki Alliance, we wanted a pure presidential system. But somewhere along the line we realized that whatever that was being pushed might not exactly take care of our interests. That's why we came up with the idea of devolution. So devolution became the third component actually, and that became, like I will say without fear, that the current constitution actually is a constitution of interest. For those who wanted the interest of pure presidential system, for those who wanted a pure parliamentary system, and for those who wanted devolution. What we intend to do right now, because our government is going to be run on actually on a platform, on our manifesto, is to be on the table. To be on the table. Already these parties that I've talked about, we are working together.
Which table?
The negotiation table, actually, when people will be negotiated.
But we'll have different tables.
At different stages, different layers.
So you intend to negotiate with everyone in every table?
Listen to this.
Yes.
Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this. The group that we have put together, the majority of them actually are leaning towards President Uhuru Kenyatta.
President Uhuru Kenyatta is not running.
No, but
Let him finish his point.
will still be part of the coalition formation. And I don't think whether it's going to, that's the reality. And that's the assumption many people are making. President Uhuru Kenyatta will part and parcel and play a very critical role actually in the formation of coalitions.
And that's what you're banking on.
And that, not only banking, being part, and two, we have the Oka group. We already have a working relationship with them as Jubilee. We have the handshake. Our desire is, in all this, should translate into the formation of a grand coalition. That grand coalition in it must take care of the interest of the group, the ASAL group that we are talking about. It's not far-fetched. It's not far-fetched.
Okay.
Like, take, for example, let me give you an example. The deputy party leader of Waiba is Honorable Farah Mali.
Mali, yes,
Honorable
and he was
Farah
in that
Mali,
meeting.
He is part of this particular group. Ultimately, we will look at our interest jealously and ensure that within this framework.
I think Akisa, we can comfortably say this.
Yes.
I mean, just comfortably say this. That as things stand now, in the Republic of Kenya, there is only one coalition. There is only one alliance, the One Kenya Alliance. So everybody will have to gravitate around
the One Kenya Alliance.
Because I mean, which other alliance are we talking about?
What if
for about today?
new formations could come
We have
up?
the Handshake Alliance.
Can come up.
But as we speak right now, we only have one alliance.
Which seems shaky, and everybody is holding their ground. We are seemingly not making headway, and pundits would say, and others would argue that this particular alliance, let me finish my point.
Yes.
Some would argue that this particular alliance was formed banking on the passage of the BBI.
Wrong.
So that then was thrown into disarray when the Court of Appeal threw out this particular case.
Wrong.
No, One Kenya Alliance as I told you, it's an ongoing conversation. Huh? We want to put Kenya together. You remember when the Handshake Brothers came together, they had one objective, to bring Kenya together. And we want to ride on that. We don't want after every elections we have a divided country. And we said, the most important thing that we are not going to let go is the unity of this country. That's why we believe that we shall differ within One Kenya Alliance, and One Kenya Alliance will remain intact. We are inviting you, and don't behave like the proverbial hyena.
I
want to give Ndindi a chance here, because he hasn't said much in a while.
And as we speak right now, it must be known right now that we have three factions, political factions, and you need to make up your mind, Kenan. We have the ODM faction. We have the Hustler, the UDA. It's called UDA or what?
UDA, yes.
UDA party. And we have the One Kenya Alliance faction. You have to
whose marriage has not been formalized.
Let's be practical on this.
Yes.
I want to.
I'll give you a minute, then we come to
you need to make up your mind.
Please let him respond to that.
Senator.
I got two OCA members here, and it's a mess.
The truth is, we have an alliance based on the handshake. Jubilee has an alliance based on the handshake with ODM, which has been functional. It's an alliance. And the handshake, I do not need to dissect. Equally, Jubilee has a coalition arrangement with KANU, which is one of the Oka group.
But that
we
was in 2022. We are talking about...
Just a minute.
Let him finish his point. Let him finish his
Let
point.
us be very clear.
Can I finish?
Let him finish his point,
You know,
Yusuf Malala. Let him finish his point. Let him finish his point.
No, just a point
Because
of
we need to give
information.
Ndindi Nyoro a chance.
Let me finish.
But just a point of
Let him
information.
finish his point.
You know, a point of information, I have to accept first. Let me take this. So right now, we have to move from the known. The known is whether we have worked together from 2017 to 22 is one thing. Whether we are likely to work together from, countdown to 2022 is another thing. But right now, the truth is, we have one key political alliance that has been existed as a result of the handshake. That's the Jubilee. Of course, Jubilee somehow
It's a
there are two
political party.
It's a political
Jubilee is a
party.
political party. It's not an alliance.
No, you can give the different definitions.
No, it's a political party. It's one of all the
Okay.
other parties.
Yes.
Okay.
So each town...
I wanted to conclude.
Could you please let him finish his point?
Can I conclude this?
Okay.
In the process, we have seen the dissolution of NASA Group.
Yes.
Yes, that's the truth.
Yeah, it's-
In the process, our brothers have drifted towards the Jubilee, ODM, handshake, whatever you
We
want
are
to call
not
it.
part of
No, you are not
that
part of it.
organization.
But
not.
And it must be very clear, Kisa, that
Okay,
one
I'll
Kenya
have to
alliance-
give Ndindi.
one Kenya
He has
alliance
not said
is not-
something
is
in quite a
not
while. I'm
part-
going to give you
you
a
are not
considerable
part
amount
per
of
se,
time.
but
Part of
it's
Jubilee.
part of
Well,
the
we-
groups that
we
you
have
want to
one
negotiate
meeting.
with. And that is why you saw, look
Yes.
at this, all the meetings that took place in Mombasa. You saw the Honorable Raila Odinga.
No, but that...
The
Just a
president
minute.
and Oka principles.
Yes, you saw the Oka
Okay.
principles. You saw President Uhuru
Didn't-
Kenyatta. You do not see
you
any other
cannot-
political
Okay.
player.
These are the
It may-
Gentlemen,
Yes.
let's talk to
There are
Ndindi
top
here.
leaders in
Please,
the country. There are
he was quiet as you were making your points. It's
Okay.
only fair to listen
Okay,
to his
we'll listen to
submissions.
him.
I know you have a lot of responses to some of the things that were said, but are we considering any pre or post-election agreements with anybody else?
But before I come to that, Akisa, it's just good for us to be honest to our viewers. I mean, I wish you called me to just watch KTN from home, because you called me as a panelist, and I repeat again, because I don't think this is ethical to do. 1 against 3. All these guys are speaking the same language. They are all the
Actually,
same.
in some
they are
instances
all-
not,
they
to
have
be
been
fair,
saying
because
are
they
the
come
same
from different...
ideologically.
Yes.
They keep throwing things here and there against hustlers. You don't give us time to respond.
Well, I'm giving you the
You're
time
wasting
now.
your time.
I'm giving you your time now.
But I will attempt. The tragedy and the reason why you see a lot of makasiriko and so many people being angry out there, including our leaders, is because something that was called BBI failed. BBI was the anchor, was the basis of this outfit called Oka and their brothers called ODM or combined. These are men who were 5 or so. They had already divided their positions. This was to get this, the other one this. The truth of the matter is that the reason why you see even the kind of harassment being meted on our presidential candidate, the current deputy president, is because the arrangement of the big boys collapsed. It is no longer there. That is why they are helter-skelter, each proclaiming that their party leader or their ethnic kingpin is the best suited to run the flag for that fragmentation. Number 2, you keep asking me about 50% and the coalition and ETC and ETC. In 2013 and 2017, we defeated these characters as a combination, full throttle. They were all together to Kawagoga chini. Our base is almost intact. The base of hustlers who supported the Jubilee administration then and who supported the Jubilee administration in 2017. However, we have actually been able to make a lot of inroads into some of the areas that the same grouping penetrated the other election. And therefore, don't keep on asking me about 50% in reference to a few kingpins here and there. The kingpins of the hustler nation are the people of Kenya, the hustlers of Kenya. Number 2, Wabua talked about, he purported a very difficult question that he asked my senator. Oh, William Ruto was given 50% of government. I want him now, because he has his phone, to Google or bring documents where it was said that the Jubilee administration, that William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta are going to share cabinet 50-50. Bring it here so that I respond.
Now, I will not bring it here because...
Let's let him finish. Let's let him finish. In all honesty, I will give you a minute.
I got the same
I will
answer
give you a
from-
minute
No, I
because
have
you
to-
also asked
I
the question
mean,
and
you asked-
he didn't respond immediately. I'll
Because
give you a
the
chance
basis-
to do
because
it.
the
Okay, I'll
basis-
listen.
the basis of my argument is the Constitution of Kenya.
Okay.
The Constitution of Kenya gives the president the full prerogative of having his cabinet intact and actually appointing cabinet secretaries. Then if that was the case, how comes, you know, this is a contradiction. How comes he purports these CSs were appointed by William Ruto? They are the same characters I see on TV every day, from Mushero trying to speak in a youth meeting, although failing, doing it dismally. On the other side is seeing Matiang'i disrespecting the deputy president. If indeed this is the person who actually appointed them, we will not be seeing the kind of disrespect that we are seeing from them. I also want to respond to my brother Kenan. He talked about, the debt. There is no harder job than trying to defend a regime that has failed, where every Kenyan can actually see. Because he talked about the debt in reference to 2013, 2017, and 17 up to date. Mheshimiwa Kenan, I want to tell you one thing. Maybe I cannot purport to teach you because you're older than me, but I want to tell you that debt accumulation, debt is not measured. The debt portfolio is not measured by how debts are maturing. It is measured by how debts are accumulated. How much we have the appetite of debt taking over the debts. The regime of the handshake has sunk this country into doldrums of debt. And by the way, the reason why Yatani came out to try to rebase our economy from the $100 billion or from 10 trillion to 11 trillion is just for one reason. It is for a reason of now telling us, our debt to GDP ratio is now too low, so that we can now expand the threshold. Lastly, this gang of Oka coalition, it is the same issue, and it is the same mechanism, it is the same machination, actually, that is happening in Mount Kenya, where we see some of the people advising the State House, and I almost mentioned their name. They are supporting small fragments of parties in Mount Kenya region. They are the same people who actually wrote. The presser that was done by your former boss here? That presser, that statement was actually written by the system. I can reassist.
Do you have evidence? Do you have evidence? Do you have evidence for that? Because now I cannot allow you to get away with that. Do you have evidence for this? Do you have evidence for that? I'm asking him. Do you have evidence?
I have evidence. I have evidence.
I will give you the evidence.
If you have evidence to the contrary, table.
Yes, I will.
The burden is for you to prove what you're saying, not on me.
I have said it.
Not
on
me with
I don't have evidence. So
where is it?
The statement that was read by these characters was actually written from the OP. That is one. Number two, the office of SKM, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, I don't know, they are calling it foundation or whatever, it is being funded from the office of the president, OP, the Interior Ministry.
Where is the evidence?
Lastly,
all these guys,
the evidence.
They are being you cannot throw. Just give us the evidence here, please.
If I'm lying, let them take me to court tomorrow, because I have evidence. SKM, that foundation of theirs.
I'll let Wambua respond. Finish your point.
See,
just finish. That's why I'm giving you your chance to. He'll respond to that.
They are being funded by the state. The issue is the State House, the current State House, want to manipulate how they are going to channel the succession politics. So they are holding these gentlemen like marionettes. That is why you see them in Naivasha, and a phone call comes from State House Mombasa. They all run with the borders, picking their next flight, going to meet the president. I ask you, these guys who keep on meeting the president at State House, what kind of business are they discussing? They are discussing politics of next year, of 2022. Unfortunately, they are all being played. When the man goes, he's told, SKM, we mudhoniwa, ni wewe tunaunga mkono. When their guy goes to the same place, they are told, you are a peacemaker, you Mudavadi, tukuna kuunga mkono. When Tiga goes, he's told, Mzee, tumeamua ni wewe. When Gideon goes, he's told, tuko na deni ya wewe, babako alitufanya rais. So they are being played.
Right.
Unfortunately, for that limbo, they are now policyless, they are rudderless. When we keep selling our agenda, their only agenda is Ruto.
Okay.
And I heard even Kalonzo Musyoka the other day on TV, on KTN, saying my only agenda of running for the presidency of Kenya is to stop William Ruto. I want to advise them, do like what you are doing, gentlemen. Sit down with your guys, craft a policy, craft a roadmap on how to revive the economy. Sell your agenda to the Kenyan people. Because ourselves, we have the party called UDA.
Thank you.
We have a candidate called William Ruto.
Ndindi.
We have bottom-up as our policy.
Yes.
Let them come
Let
up
them
with
do
theirs,
that.
and then we compete on that basis.
Okay, I've given you more time because you made a... But I'd like us to get the closing remarks. As you respond to that, you'll also be giving us your closing remarks. So which way, Wiper, if Oka fails, what is the option?
Let me begin by advising my friend here, just as he has been advised by Senator Malala, to relax, to cool down. We are not at war. We are debating.
If you don't have energy, don't blame me.
To add value to the national conversation on the elections coming in 2022. Now, one of the things that he has said, I think this is the biggest lie of the year, and actually if that is what then UDA is doing, then I pity the people that follow UDA. You know why? He has lied in my presence that the statement that I read yesterday was written in State House.
Akisa, OP.
Akisa, from OP. Akisa, the statement read by Senator Enoch K. Wambua yesterday was written by Enoch K. Wambua, seated with you now here. It's here. I will show it to you.
No, show us.
We don't have time. We don't have time. Please, guys, we are out of time. I need you to make your closing remarks. I need you to make your closing remarks. We do not have time. Please, sir. Please make your closing remarks. In a minute.
I was in Parliament.
In a minute. Let him make his point.
It was true. It was brought to me by my PA. It was very true. Yeah. So so that's a big lie. I wrote this on you. Secondly, he has made another big lie about the Musyoka Foundation. The Kalonzo Musyoka Foundation is older than him. It was not started yesterday. There is no way it can be funded from State House. How does State House fund a foundation? That is a big lie. Secondly, I heard him say that their team is intact from 2013. They beat these characters. At one time we are characters, at that time we are gang. They beat these characters, this gang. Their team is intact because they are the hustlers with Ruto. And I'm asking myself, so what do you need in Euro and people who are like-minded think is that the victory of Jubilee in 2013 and 2017 was purely entirely attributed to Ruto, and Uhuru Kenyatta did not.
And you made that point in 30 seconds. I need you to wrap up. What next, please? 30 seconds.
What next, Akisa, is that OKA is intact. There is no question of One Kenya Alliance disintegrating. There is no place that Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka and Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Masika Wetangula and Gideon Moi, plus other like-minded leaders who are coming into OKA, there is no place they will scatter to. OKA will form the next government on the 9th of August 2022. That's the position.
In under a minute, Malala. Mudavadi insists he must be on the ballot.
Akisa, just before I do my valedictory remarks, I'm just surprised the manner in which my good colleague is behaving. And if you can, if one UDA member can behave like this, what about 150 of them in government? You can see the kind of chaos we shall have in government if these guys form the government. Nevertheless, I want to join my colleague senator here by saying that One Kenya Alliance is intact. And even within One Kenya Alliance, I still insist that Musalia Mudavadi will be on the ballot because he is best placed to be on the ballot to come in soberly and revive the economy of Kenya.
The compromise candidate you keep talking about?
No, not really the compromise candidate, the able candidate who is able to take up this country. Second, one thing that Musalia Mudavadi is going to do is to fight corruption. I want to just correct one thing that was there today in the both print and broadcast media. You saw some of our party members going to accompany Governor Anne Waiguru.
Are you courting her for DP to be running mate for Mudavadi?
We are looking for friends, yes, but not in the context. Not in the context of defending corrupt people. Not in that context. We are looking for like-minded friends across the
Innocent
country.
until proven guilty?
Exactly. And that's why I'm saying that whatever statement that was given at the ESCC offices were personal.
It was not representative of
yes,
the party.
It was not,
okay.
it was not
Malala,
representing the interest of the Amani National Congress, because the Amani National Congress spokesperson, the Secretary General, and as we speak right now, we do not have a substantive Secretary General. And it is good enough, Akisa, for me to say here that that was just a coincidence, whereby two people had been summoned at ESCC, and two culprits had been summoned there before the hangman's
each of them a
noose,
minute
and
to
therefore,
finish.
we do not stand for any person who is facing corruption cases as a Amani National Congress.
Yes,
though we are looking for...
Honorable Kainan, let's finish with you.
Just for
Jubilee is in shambles. What next for the party?
Jubilee is not in shambles. I think just for the benefit of our viewers,
yes,
I think we need to inject a bit of civility in our debates, in our paneling, and that is not cowardice. That is not cowardice. Secondly, because whatever you want to say, you do not need to cast aspersion on your colleague. You can put your points forth. Secondly, the reason why parties are there is to grab power through the ballot. And luckily, we never had a military phenomenon, except maybe what happened in 1982. So that being the case, these parties are there. They are part of our legal platform. They are part of our governance structure. What we in Jubilee and other like-minded parties are desirous of doing is to come up with a coalition. First, that will protect the image of Kenya as a premier republic. That will contribute to the achievement of national cohesion.
Okay.
3, a coalition that will not divide Kenyans along the tribal, regional, all the things that we have
Are you seeing Jubilee go all the way to 2022 perhaps?
Absolutely.
Given the
we have already
current
rebranded,
turbulence?
we have re-energized, we have rebranded, and you see, Jubilee as a party exists.
Okay.
What you are seeing is a bit of disagreement by members who still want to be here.
A bit is being quite lenient.
A bit of disagreement, because I'm yet to see. You know why? You know why I'm saying a bit of disagreement? Because I'm yet to see anybody who signed on principle and say, you have disagreed with this Jubilee, I get out of it and form another party.
Okay.
So in conclusion, my take is 11 months is such a long time. Let's negotiate soberly. Let's do our business with a bit of civility. And remember, regardless of our divergent views, we always have what can constitute national interest.
All right.
And that is what Kenyans actually are looking forward to.
Dininyora, I'm giving you a minute to finish this. Why not a mass walkout from Jubilee if you're unhappy? What's keeping us in a terrible marriage?
Akisa,
if I could call it that.
You know, the reason why people keep on telling us walkout is ostensibly because we associate with the UDA. I want to remind all those people, including those of like Kainan, who have purported the same on this show. The person who actually led the way was the president himself. The president, our party leader, went and supported an ODM candidate in Musabweni, who we never, because we respect him, told him to resign because we respect him. Kenya is a democratic country. Again, Akisa, I have heard my brother, Commissioner, talking about severity. And I want to tell him, the first chapter in the book of severity is talking the truth. Talking the truth is the things I've been saying on this show, that all these groupings are being funded by the state. That is cast on stone, and it is the truth. The current offices of Kalonzo Musyoka, I can tell all Kenyans, it is being funded by the state.
But I think this
Mudavadi is being funded by the state.
Gentlemen, and
Gideon Moi will be launching his presidential bid. Let me finish. I mean, I gave them all the time, Akisa.
Finish.
This is the kind of show.
Let him finish his minutes.
Exactly.
Gideon
Moi will be launching his presidential bid in the next 10 days. It will be funded by the state. All the small political parties in Mount Kenya region are being funded by the state. The recent one actually was registered by one of the advisors to the State House. So we have to tell Kenyans the truth so that as we make the choices, we know exactly who is speaking for who.
Perhaps if what you're saying is true, to what end?
To the end that the current establishment would want to shape the succession, of course, for their benefit and for their personal interest, and especially business interests.
Gentlemen, we could do this till midnight and continue, and you would still have things to say. So unfortunately, we have to wrap up this show. We will call for a round 2 when things continue to shape up. You've said 11 months is a long time.
But
maybe even Oka, I agree with you. Yeah. We will see to that.
But if you give 2, give me 6 minutes to respond.
I've really tried to give you more time, and I think you would appreciate that. But Ndini Nyoro, thank you very much for being here. Kiharu, Member of Parliament, thank you very much, Ndini, for coming. Enoch Wambua, Kitui Senator, thank you very much for coming. Hope we can do this again. Same to Malala, Kakamega Senator, thank you for coming. And Eden Keinan, who is the eldest Member of Parliament and Secretary Jubilee Coalition. Joint Parliament. Have I said something wrong? I was worried for a minute. Gentlemen, thank you very much. And for a view, I've seen a lot of comments. Unfortunately, we couldn't quite read all of them. It was quite something on Crossfire tonight. Till next time, I am Akisa Wandera. Have a good night.